Good morning, Brownsville. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you are watching this feed. If this is your first time here, welcome. Our platform focuses on keeping the community, the world up to date with all the current events that are happening in the city of Brownsville and our surrounding areas. Um, on this on this show, you will find topics in regards to politics, religion, and a little about life. If this is something that interests you, that you could see yourself supporting, make sure you like this live feed for us. And also, we ask that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. We could be found on YouTube under Frankie Olivo TV. Happy Monday, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Monday. It is Drinko de Mayo. Um, it's funny. Many people believe that today, Cinco de Mayo, is a celebration of Mexico's independence. But on the contrary, Cinco de Mayo it celebrates the Mexican army's victory over French forces at the Battle of Puebla in 1862. Now, while this is primarily a remembrance in Mexico, it has become a wider celebration of Mexican culture, heritage here in the United States, often consumed by food, tacos, music, and of course, who can forget the margaritas. So, if you will be celebrating today's festivities, make sure you have a taco, and if you have a margarita, make sure you have one in remembrance of me. Again, happy Monday. We had a very, very busy weekend. We had election day. We saw the numbers. Ultimately, the city of Brownsville, Cameron County, um, spoke loud and clear. When we look at the county, 60% of those that voted against the arena. Uh, I received many calls Saturday evening, Sunday morning in celebration and saying, this is what we've done. We've told the county judge no for the third time. What is the dynamics look like now for the Madeira development? Again, they were waiting for this project to be approved 4 years ago. They believed that this arena was going to pass, this $200 to $300 million investment that was going to be created from a hot hotel occupancy tax that the outside world was going to be paying for it. How is that going to look for Madeira? Are they going to go steamlined and start with their development? If you've passed by after the 2-3 years that they've broken ground, it seems as if they haven't really done much. But again, this is something that they were waiting on for this item to pass. We had the likes of Starbase. Starbase now is going to be its own city. They have a mayor and 2 commissioners. Elon Musk played it well. We talked about previously when he came to Cameron County, it seemed as if this was our honeypot, everything that the city of Brownsville and Cameron County needed for the world's richest man to establish Brownsville as his hometown and make the claim that Brownsville to Mars would be a reality. What have we seen in those 10 years? Well, the county gave him a tax break. SpaceX invested $3 billion. They're going to create their own entertainment district. They're going to create their own school. And ultimately, now it seems as if the world's richest man is getting what he's been after this whole time. And all he had to do was sprinkle a couple millions on these Mexicans and say, give me what I want. He donated $20 million to the Rio Grande Valley schools, and he donated $10 million to revitalize downtown Brownsville. What did he get from that little donation? Well, his people made a petition to have Starbase become its own community. And based on Saturday's election, he got what he wanted. Um, how is Starbase, the future of Starbase, going to affect Brownsville? Well, we talked about how BISD for sure will be hurting. BISD currently right now um, is not looking good. They have or were currently in a deficit. They're losing students at a rapid pace year in and year out. They're competing with the likes of charter schools. And now imagine to be competing with the likes of Elon Musk. Can you visualize that? Starbase now is going to be like a Rancho Viejo, a luxury spot where the who's who. Well, as of right now, we anticipate only workers living on Boca Chica Village, but the possibilities, the possibilities are endless for Starbase. So it's going to be interesting. Now they've created their own city based on this election on Saturday. They have their mayor, 36-year-old Mr. Bobby Peden, and they have their commissioners. What's next? They're going to create their own public safety, fire department, police department, and they're going to separate themselves from the city of Brownsville. Did we get the short end of the stick? We have spoken about previously how Brownsville, Cameron County, at the end of the day, needed SpaceX. We need Elon Musk. What about the environment? What about our beach, the most prized possession that we have? Are we giving this away? Are we giving this away to the world's richest man for peanuts? Are we bending the knee and kissing the ring? At the end of the day, it seems as if Elon Musk is here to stay. He got what he wanted at the cost of us Brownsvillians. Could you picture it in the future? Are we living in a sci-fi world where police officers are going to be pulling you over in a Tesla? Chief Mendoza says, sign me up. Today, chat, today we'll be talking a little bit about the elections from Saturday. Elections are very rigorous, are very consuming. It takes a lot out of an individual. Me personally, when I ran for the school district, it took my soul. You have to have a thick skin because at the end of the day, politics is not for the weak-hearted. You have to have a certain mentality that's driven, that's motivated. You have to have your head held high through criticism and through adversity. What we have seen has been that the citizens of Brownsville have voted for those representatives that they would like to have represent them on our city commission. What is interesting from these races is that we're still in a runoff. The only race that did not see a runoff was District 3. District 3, Gustavo de Leon won his victory in a landslide. 60% of the voters in District 3 came out in support of now Commissioner de Leon. Congratulations to Mr. de Leon and his campaign team. We look forward to working with him and his staff to make Brownsville a better city. If there's any way in which we can help, we would love that. But more than anything, congratulations to Mr. de Leon. But what about the other races? Many people think that once they lose, when a certain candidate loses their races, it's over. It's done. Everything that you've worked hard for went down the drain. Well, not so fast, chat, not so fast. Today, we're going to talk about those individuals that weren't successful in their respective races. While many people think and say, well, they're done. Now we only have to focus on those in the runoff. I'd like to see it from a different perspective. Today, chat, today we'll be talking about how Rodriguez, Moody, Garcia, and Tijerina have all the leverage in the world leading up to June's runoff. Many people, whenever they decide to run, they have their reasons for it. Many people are motivated by making their community a better place. And whenever they run up against incumbents, they always say, well, I don't think that you're doing a good job. That is why I am putting my hat in the ring. It is important for us to recognize that campaigns are very difficult. And people run because they feel as if that certain candidate, if there is an incumbent, is not doing the job that Brownsville deserves. So that is what we will be focusing on today. We'll be talking about the power that these individuals currently have, the leverage that they have right now, leading up to the runoffs. And again, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. We could be found under Frankie Olivo TV. The goal of ours is currently we are at 319 subscribers. The goal is to get to 1,000 by the end of this year. It is not possible without each and every one of y'all's help. I don't ask for much. The little that I ask of you is to subscribe to our channel. That way we can reach the masses and get the message out to the world. And I thank you. And I thank you beforehand. Again, elections are very difficult. And many people think, if a person lost an election, that's it. It's over. What happens after somebody loses an election? And there are still candidates that are facing a runoff. That is something that I wanted to talk about, just to give a little insight into the dynamics and a little behind the scenes, if I may, just to give you a glimpse of what's to expect. When we talk about these races, who can forget that all we've been talking about throughout early voting and possibly even before, how I'm breaking up, how our area, how our community does not come out to vote. Voter apathy is rampant here in the city of Brownsville. We've been screaming at the top of our lungs of how a population of 200 residents on paper only saw 7,500. We'll round it off to 8,000 voters came out to vote. Can you imagine that? How less than 8%, 7% of our community is ultimately shaping the dynamics of the city commission? It's very sad when these individuals have been campaigning tirelessly, trying to get the message out, and we get a low voter turnout. Now, while this is nothing to be shocked by it, again, we see this year in and year out, especially elections such as the city of Brownsville, such as the Port of Brownsville as well. Why? Because these elections are specifically isolated compared to our November races. Why don't we have our city races with the general election? Some people would argue and say, well, it's because we want those individuals in Brownsville that are invested and that will come out to vote. Those are the important ones. Those are the educated ones. Those are the ones that are ultimately going to make the right choice for whoever they vote for. But that is something that I've always talked about. Why don't we have these elections when everybody else comes out to vote? Imagine if we would have had these elections during our presidential elections back in November. How would the dynamics have changed? We can all make the argument and say that maybe these elections are placed in March or April and May, They're designing a way to control and manipulate these elections because at the end of the day, no one comes out to vote. You have your people that you have those faithful that they go in to vote every election, no matter if it's the general election, no matter if it's the midterm elections, they come out and vote. But the majority of individuals, the majority of people, we'll wait for the presidential election. We're not really too worried about midterms or other elections. But nonetheless, it's important. It's important for us to recognize those individuals that weren't victorious. Um, what we have seen from this is that the dynamics of the game changes because if you think that voter apathy is rampant during an election that we just had, well, just imagine trying to get people to come out to vote for a second time, and this time in June. I want you to visualize that for me, chat. The city of Brownsville had 8,000 voters to vote for District 3, District 4, and the at-large race. How many should we anticipate in the runoffs? Possibly 2, 3, 4,000 if we're lucky. If we're lucky. So that is what we will be talking about today. The power, the leverage that Rodriguez, Moody, Garcia, and Tijerina have moving forward to the June elections. If we look at District 4, District 4 was a very, very competitive race. We have the incumbent who was a slight favorite on Saturday. He received 33.3% of the vote. He will be facing off against Daisy Zamora, who received 31.6% of the vote. It is interesting. It is interesting because at one time it was rumored that Pedro Cárdenas was going to be running in the at-large position against Roy de los Santos. It is rumored that there was a gentleman's agreement between these two individuals. Was money exchanged? Were positions promised? Was a campaign donation given to Mr. Cárdenas in order for him to stay in District 4? Again, these are the realities. These are the realities of elections. Maybe he thought that Roy de los Santos was too strong and said, you know what? I'll stay in my race. Maybe he didn't receive the support from the mayor that he thought he had. Maybe he didn't see that he could win at the at-large position. But when we focus on District 4, we can see that Mr. Pedro Cárdenas is looking at a fight in the runoffs. And if we look at Mr. Michael Rodriguez and Luis Tijerina, what we see from these two individuals in this District 4 race is the leverage that they have. Michael Rodriguez brought in 22% of the vote. Luis Tijerina brought in 13% of the vote. But again, ladies and gentlemen, voter apathy is real in the city of Brownsville. If we saw dismal numbers, if 2,600 people came out to vote for District 4, can we imagine how many people are going to come out to vote in the runoff? What, 1,300? 1,500? We can make the case that if these numbers during April and May were dismal, we can make the argument that they're going to be even worse in June, right? It is no doubt in my mind that these two candidates in the runoff are going to do everything possible to make sure that they get their message across, that they make sure that they get their faithful out to vote for them once again. But again, it's difficult to get people out to vote once. Imagine twice. How is Mr. Michael Rodriguez and Louis Tijerina going to respond to this? Usually the way it works, ladies and gentlemen, usually is that individuals, once they're in a runoff, usually for the most part, they ask support from their former rivals. And again, these are the dynamics of elections. What is going to be promised to these candidates, if anything? Are positions on certain committees going to be given? Campaigns are very expensive. And the norm has been for individuals to ask those candidates, how much are you in debt? How much did you spend on your campaign? Maybe I can make a donation. It possibly doesn't come from the candidate himself, but it probably comes from his intermediaries, from his group. And you're probably saying, what? People get their campaigns paid to support candidates in a runoff? Yes. A lot more is given, but from what we hear, positions are promised. Campaigns are paid off. Maybe they'll benefit that certain individual for their support in whatever aspect, whatever profession they may have. But how is Mr. Rodriguez and Mr. Louis Tijerina going to react from this? Many people have stated that if I ran against you because I didn't think you were a good candidate, why would I support you? How am I going to tell my people now vote for him? There are those people that think that way. Do you blame them? Because at the end of the day, each candidate in their respective races wants to be that person to represent their community, to make those important decisions. They want to shape and foster the next generation. Can we see either Michael Rodriguez or Louis Tijerina supporting any of these candidates? Many people don't realize the power, the leverage that an individual such as Michael Rodriguez and Louis Tijerina has. When Pedro Cárdenas was back and forth with his position, I'm in District 4, I'm in the at-large race, many people supported Michael Rodriguez and Louis Tijerina. But then once Pedro Cárdenas jumped back into the frame, that all changed. Those individuals that promised that they were going to vote for Rodriguez and Tijerina, now they turned their backs on them and said, oh, no, I have to support the incumbent. Does this benefit Miss Daisy Zamora? Because again, look how well she did. And currently right now, Daisy Zamora is being supported by Mayor Cowan and Commissioner Gowan. The dynamics of the city commission is at stake. This position, the District 4 and the at-large race, will ultimately decide the majority on the commission. And for those of us that have been following politics, we know how important that is, because if whoever you are aligned with are in the minority, you're not going to get anything done. Whatever idea you have of implementing an agenda, of passing certain things for your prospective district, they might be up in question because you don't have that number 4. Right now, the majority, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, is Mayor Cowan, Tino Villarreal, Rose Gowan, soon to be Rose Gowan, and Linda Macias. But it seems as if Linda Macias always, flip-flops and she prefers to be in the majority because, again, who wants to be in the minority, right? But that's the dynamics of the city commission. So Mayor Cowan needs this position. He needs the at-large position as well to solidify his majority. How will Michael Rodriguez side in this race? Is Michael Rodriguez and Louis Tijerina, who have 900 votes together, they have the power to sway this election. If they were to come out and publicly endorse Pedro Cárdenas, if they were to come out and endorse Daisy Zamora, they could ultimately give them the victory. So while these individuals, and look, I have ran a campaign, I have lost a campaign. It is the most difficult thing that I've ever dealt with. Well, one of the most difficult things, because in life, because politics is politics, right? And the realities of life are difficult. But the worst feeling in the world is to lose an election. Imagine you spending, I believe I spent like $8,000 in my race. While that's not a lot of money, to me it is, and it was a lot of money. But these candidates, they spend hours and hours trying to get their message across. They sacrifice their time. They sacrifice their money. And then for them to not come out victorious or not to come out on top is difficult. It's a shot to the gut. Me personally, I'm a very competitive person. I feed off of competition. I love competition. I feel as if it will bring the very best out of me. But when you lose, oh, man, it hurts. But right now, Rodriguez and Tijerina in their races are looking like $1 million. They must feel like $1 million. And if they don't know this, they'll start feeling it. If they haven't already, I am more than sure that these individuals already possibly received a phone call, if not from the candidates, from their people. What would it take for me to get your support? Do you want a position on a committee? Do you have campaign debt? Is there any way that I can help you to gain your support? Every vote counts in a runoff, ladies and gentlemen. Rodriguez, Tijerina have all the leverage in the world. It is up to them to decide what is in the best interest of Brownsville. Ultimately, what I would say is, people, you have to be selfish. And that's the reality of life. People are going to say, what's in it for me? Is that a good or bad thing? That's up to them. Ultimately, what they have to decide is what's in the best interest of, first, the candidate themselves that lost, and second, what's in the best interest of the city of Brownsville. Who would be a better representative? Would it be Pedro Cárdenas? Or would it be Daisy Zamora? Speaking firsthand, if I can send a message to Mr. Rodriguez and Mr. Tijerina, I am more than sure that this is a bad taste in your mouth of not winning, not coming out on top, not being in a runoff. But don't be so hard on yourselves. Y'all demonstrated throughout the campaigns that y'all, Mr. Rodriguez and Mr. Tijerina, are more than qualified and would be and currently are great assets for our community. If this is something that you can see yourself doing down the road, don't give up. I know it's hard. We are days away from the results. Keep at it, because the community likes to see fighters. They like to see individuals that don't give up. They like to see individuals that when nobody's watching, they're there. We have those typical politicians that always come around every 3-4 years around election cycle. That is my message to these individuals. If this is something that you're passionate about, if this is something that you can see yourself doing, is it in your heart for you to serve your community in this capacity? Keep fighting. It's difficult. It's hard for me to say, hey, cheer up, Buttercup. Keep that chin up. It's difficult. We don't want to hear that. At least me. I didn't want to hear people telling me what the hell to do. I just lost the race. I just spent 8 grand. Leave me the hell alone. I threw myself on the floor. I cried. I rolled over, pulled my hair. Erasmo Castro. Erasmo Castro was an individual that ran race after race. His community saw that he was a fighter, that he was committed, that he was passionate about what he did. And surely before his passing, he was given that opportunity to represent his community on the school district. I can give you 2 more examples that might motivate you. We have Mr. Joey Lopez, who currently represents us on for Precinct 2, Cameron County. He's our Cameron County Commissioner. Did you know that in his younger days, Commissioner Joey Lopez ran against Aurora de la Garza? And who can forget Aurora de la Garza? Aurora de la Garza was a powerhouse who served Cameron County for decades. Whenever she ran, nobody ran against her. Well, Joey Lopez was a brave individual in his younger days, and he ran twice against Aurora de la Garza. He wasn't successful, but did that stop Commissioner Lopez in his quest to serve his community? No. What did we see? We saw that he ultimately represented us in the school district here in Brownsville, in South Texas, and then he ultimately ended up winning the commissioner's race. Another example that I love to give is Joey Lopez. Joey Lopez, Joey Lopez I just gave. Orlando Lopez, Papas. Orlando Lopez currently right now is a San Benito CISD board member. If anyone knows the story of Orlando Lopez, is that his family is heavily involved in politics. It took Papas his 3rd try. He lost the first 2, but ultimately was victorious on the 3rd, and I believe he just recently won re-election, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. So to Mr. Rodriguez and Mr. Tijerina, if this is something that you're passionate about, you could see yourself doing down the road, that you want to serve your community in this capacity, don't give up. Don't quit. You had people that believed in your message, that came out to vote, that wore your shirts, that held your signs, that gave you money. Don't give up. This is the marathon. This isn't a sprint. While it's hard for us, good morning, Mr. Rodriguez. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's see what he has to say. No endorsements, no commissioners backing me up, no religious groups backing me up. Received 22% because I'm a real person's person. The people's champ. I'm not down. Took a day off yesterday because my family day. Went to church as I do every Sunday. Thanks to God for many blessings, and spent day with my wife and children. Saludos. Good morning, Mr. Rodriguez. Thank you so much for tuning in. Mr. Rodriguez, I have had the pleasure of knowing him and his family, and I'm very appreciative of him and his family. They kind of took me in a weird way. When my uncle won, when Erasmo Castro won BISD the first time, he was invited to be part of a softball team, the Gucci Gang. And while Erasmo Castro was never athletic, he said, you know what? Hey, well, why don't you go take my spot? So I went to the sports park and I found the team, and I kind of didn't introduce myself. I was just there. So then I just got a jersey and I played, and then they had a cook-off and I ate their food, and I didn't really talk to nobody. And everybody kept asking, who the hell is this guy? He played, he ate our food. Nobody knows who the hell he was. Ultimately, they found out. They said, oh, hey, that's you, man. You're Erasmo's nephew. What the hell were you doing there? And since then, I have played, not lately because of, I've had personal matters that I haven't been able to have the leisure of playing. But after that, they took me in, and I was a part of their softball team for many, many years. And I'm very thankful for Mr. Rodriguez's friendship and the family's of friendship. They took me in, and I'm very, very thankful. So again, individuals such as Mr. Rodriguez and Mr. Tijerina, moving forward, they have all the leverage in the world. How are they going to vote? How are they going to tell their people to come out to vote? Is this something to where they don't want to support the incumbent, or they say, you know what, I ran against these two individuals. How the heck am I? How the heck am I going to support either one of them? Rodriguez and Tijerina have all the leverage in the world moving up, leading up to the June runoff. Who can forget the FU heard around the world? In the commissioner at large race, we saw how 40% of the voters voted for Nudith Galansky. She led by 1,000 votes to the incumbent. Well, he's not an incumbent. He's a current commissioner and a candidate for the at-large race, De Los Santos. Susan, for the people, stated how 70% of the people voted against Roy De Los Santos. We can make the argument. That the FU heard around the world severely affected Mr. De Los Santos. We saw how an individual such as Alejandro Garcia, a conservative, a youth leader who was campaigning on the idea of having God in the city commission, he brought the support of conservatives, of pastors, of religious leaders. And what did we see? We saw this young man make waves. Many people criticized him for his lack of knowledge on certain issues. Maybe they questioned his maturity. Are you old enough? Are you ready for this? This is the big leagues. Well, he came out swinging. His people came out to vote for him. Mr. Jason Moody brought 800 people out to the polls, a 10% representation on the ballot. Now, again, how important are Mr. Moody and Mr. Garcia in this runoff? Very, very important. Again, once you lose a race, you think, oh my God, it's over. All this money, all this time, all this sacrifice for what? For nothing. Well, no. Contrary, my man. You have all the leverage in the world. You have all the power in the world. Because look, 7,700, let's round it off. 8,000 people came out to vote. Out of those 8,000 people, 40% came out to vote for Nudith Galansky. What do you think Commissioner De Los Santos is thinking? He knows he has an uphill battle. He has a very, very tough chance. It's going to be tough. He lost by 1,000 votes. And if we really sit down and look at this, how do we think that Alejandro Garcia is going to vote? We argued and stated that the reason why Alejandro Garcia was in this race was because of Roy De Los Santos, because of the FU heard around the world. How could a city commissioner be disrespectful to an elderly woman who was just stating her beliefs? Many people are currently upset at this. How can you be like that? Because again, a commissioner at large, you represent all of Brownsville. You have to get along with individuals, no matter if they're black or white, straight, gay, Mexican, Muslim, whatever ethnicity they are, whatever social background or religious beliefs they may have. You have your belief and I have mine, but that doesn't mean that I should be disrespectful, that I should say that you're dumb and that you're... No, not at all. But that is what the people saw. The FU heard around the world severely affected Mr. De Los Santos. And he might have not calculated He probably said, you know what? I'm strong enough. This isn't going to hurt me. Well, obviously it did. Why? Because we saw someone, an outsider, a young man who many people, many pundits from the beginning of this said, there's no chance Garcia is going to do anything. There's no chance Jason Moody's going to do anything. Well, look what they did. They brought in 31% of the vote. How will these individuals align themselves? Is this a case to where they say, I ran against you? I'm not going to support you. Why would I support you? Why would I tell my people to endorse you when I was campaigning against you? But again, the dynamics of the game, which is called the runoff, changes everything. How will this affect him? Is very difficult. It's going to be difficult for Commissioner de los Santos because we have seen and talked about how Golonsky, she can compete financially with anybody. She has deep pockets. Currently, right now, up to election day, she spent $60,000 on this race. We anticipate Ms. Golonsky spending another $20,000 to $30,000, possibly $40,000 on this race. Heck, possibly even more. Many people stated that the reason she ran against Roy de los Santos was to get back at him, because Commissioner de los Santos was the one that ultimately put up Brian Martinez to run against Ms. Golonsky. And look what we have. This is possibly what Ms. Golonsky was looking for this entire time. Give me a one-on-one with Roy. I'm down. Can you get... I can see that happening. I can see she's salivating. She's salivating. She's like, this is what I want. I want to beat him. This is the person I want to have in a runoff. How will the community come out to vote? Alejandro Garcia, we anticipate Mr. Alejandro Garcia endorsing Ms. Golonsky. Why? Because he's a conservative. And Roy de los Santos has proven himself to be disrespectful, to say F you. Again, we all have differences of opinion, but when a commissioner insults an elderly woman, when he doesn't own up to his mistake, when his only excuse was, oh, I apologize for the profanity, when he didn't apologize for what he did, it doesn't look good. Susan for the People says, Alejandro has values that absolutely do not align with De Los Santos. His voters' values do not align with De Los Santos. Again, he's a conservative. He's a conservative who's a youth leader. You think he's going to tell his people to vote for someone that said F you around the world? Again, politics is crazy. Anything could happen. I wouldn't put it past anyone. And again, I'm not making accusations. I'm not accusing nobody. But just imagine somebody saying, what do you need? What do you want? Do you need money? Do you want me to pay off your campaign debt? These people spent thousands of dollars. I believe Mr. Garcia spent like 1,000 something. But nonetheless, nothing is out of bounds in these runoffs, because again, at the end of the day, millions of dollars are at stake, ladies and gentlemen, in regards to contracts, in regards to favors, in regards to, and I'm not accusing these candidates. I'm just saying that We're getting down to the nitty gritty. So for a candidate in a runoff to offer a former candidate a position, money, is not unheard of. This is common. This is common for us to hear. How will Mr. Jason Moody vote? And again, for this race, ladies and gentlemen, for this race, it is of utmost importance for you to try to get any leverage that is possible. Because if 7,700 people came out to vote in May, how much do we anticipate is going to come out in June? 3,000, 4,000, 5,000? So every vote is going to count. And right now, Jason Moody and Alejandro Garcia are looking, and they should feel, like $1 million. I currently live in Precinct 1. I live right outside of city limits. I live off of Minnesota by the airport. I am 2 minutes away from the airport. So unfortunately, I cannot vote in city races. I do have the opportunity to change my address, but I love where I live, and I wouldn't change that, at least not right now. No, she didn't. She was an honest person. Oh, Catalina, you feel this at the board? Oh, I apologize. I was kind of sidetracked. Good morning, Miss, for the people. Conflict of interest with his compadres. Do your homework. Then he posts his video around back in the LGBT in community. F him. That's your opinion. Everyone has one. On the contrary, the district wasn't. But we have seen, again, just because individuals lost a race doesn't mean necessarily that they're going to support a candidate. Maybe Mr. Moody and Garcia are going to say, you know what? I'm going to stay out of this. I ran against y'all. I don't need nothing from y'all. I don't want nothing from y'all. I did speak with an individual, and I said, look, do what's in your best interest. Do what's in the best interest of Brownsville. These people, even though they lost, they got so much leverage and so much power leading up to the runoffs. How will Mr. Jason Moody react from this? How will Mr. Alejandro Garcia react from this? Are they going to support a candidate? Are they going to throw support? Let's talk about this. If Alejandro Garcia and Jason Moody openly endorse Galansky, it does not look good for Commissioner de los Santos. Because again, 70% of the people voted against him. He only garnered 27, let's say 30% of the vote. So how is he feeling leading up to the runoffs? He's scrambling. He has to work extra hard. We know his faithful are going to come out to vote. Commissioner de los Santos is a great campaigner. He's a politician. But he ran into a brick wall that's called the conservative movement. People that were tired of having an individual disrespect one of their own. That is something that he didn't anticipate. So the dynamics of this race in particular are very telling. If Alejandro Garcia throws his support against Galansky, it doesn't look good for De Los Santos. If both Jason Moody and Alejandro Garcia throw the support behind Galansky, I don't want to say it's over, Chad, but it's going to be difficult. So again, these runoffs are very, very important. And it looks like Jason Moody and Alejandro Garcia are looking like $1 million. Ladies and gentlemen, just because individuals are not victorious in the races does not mean that they do not have nothing. They do not have nothing to bring to the table. Susan for the People is stating that it is her opinion that the candidates were running against Roy. So are they both going to endorse Ms. Galansky? We could make the argument that if both Garcia and Moody openly endorse Galansky, it will be a difficult task for De Los Santos. Campaigns are very difficult. Individuals sacrifice time, money, energy to be elected in a position in which they will ultimately represent their community. It's funny because from the outside, we think, these individuals lost. They're done. No, on the contrary. Again, very quickly, look how close these elections were, ladies and gentlemen. Look at Pedro Cárdenas and Daisy Zamora. Imagine if Michael Rodriguez and Luis Tijerina voted for either or both of them voted for one particular candidate. They have immense power right now. It just ultimately it's going to decide up until how do they want to act. Pedro Cárdenas, Daisy Zamora, if they haven't already, if their teams haven't already, they're already contacting Mr. Rodriguez. They're already contacting Mr. Tijerina. Same thing with Mr. Moody and Mr. Garcia. If they haven't already, they're going to contact them. Anything could happen. The runoffs, according to Elizabeth. Where are you, Elizabeth? The runoff is set for early voting, May 27th through June the 3rd. Election day is Saturday, June the 7th. How will you vote? Will you come out to vote? Did you vote for the... Again, voter apathy is real, ladies and gentlemen. Every vote counts, especially in these runoffs. In the District 3 race, we have how Pedro Cárdenas was at 33%. Daisy Zamora is at 31%. She's right there. She's reaching. She could grab him. But how will Michael Rodriguez and Luis Tijerina, who are they going to endorse? They have a lot of power. They are looking like a million buckaroos. For the commissioner at large race, how will Alejandro Garcia and his 1,600 votes, who will they go to? Mr. Moody and his 900 votes, who will he support? Just because candidates lost the race doesn't mean they're done. No. On the contrary, when candidates lose, they still have leverage. The city of Brownsville will be having elections on June the 7th. How will you vote? And more importantly, how will the candidates react to the endorsements? Are they going to get involved? Or are they simply going to say, I ran against you because I didn't believe in you, and I'm not going to endorse you in the runoff? It is Monday, May the 5th. Happy Cinco de Mayo. Make sure you have a taco. Make sure you have a margarita. Drink responsibly. Make sure you tune in every Monday through Friday, 9 a.m., same Batman time, same Batman channel. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube page. Our goal is to get to 1,000. I'm only as strong as you let me to be. I am thankful to each and every one of you for your kind words and your support, as I will be here in front of you every day, Monday to Friday, 9 a.m., as long as you let me. Thank you so much for your time and your attention. Hope you have a great start to your day. Let's get it, baby. Happy Monday.